Stop. Stop destroying the ecology to save the ecology. Here comes yet another one of my rants, this time not about bushfires, but so-called planned burns, again through the lens of regenerative land management. Hi, I'm Stephanie Hildman from Radical Soil Care. I work in soil health, and you can find more information about my work, my book, Radical Soil Care, and my soil remedies, and my other products on my website, which I will link below. I love the bush. Here in Gippsland, we have old rainforests teeming with life. My all-time favorites are mosses, very closely followed by fungi, and again, very closely followed by lichen. It is not much fun to walk through the bush with me, as I'm constantly calling out a delight, discovering those little treasures, and this is usually followed by a dash into the bush whilst pulling out my phone and taking countless pictures, never getting tired of explaining for hours on end the pivotal role those tiny, often overlooked plants play in the ecosystem. So you can understand my dismay when I came across an area where I walk my dogs often and where, according to the science, there had been a planned burn conducted. The destruction was so complete and vast that I sat on the ground, my eyes welled up, and I was simply heartbroken. While I was sitting there, I could not hear a single bird. No insect crawled across my legs, and all I could see was black ground, where there had been rich forest soil just a few days ago. Gone was the rich earthy smell, replaced by that lingering scent of bushfire. Due to my prolific picture-taking prior, I now have quite a library of before and after images I will use here. So a few days later, I visited again, taking stock more thoroughly, digging some holes to assess the state of the soil, with a bit more clarity, a bit less emotion, to check what was left. The soil is burned, its richness is gone, and the topsoil which is left is in distress. Due to the lack of soil cover and roots normally holding it together, the first rainfall of about 10 millimeters left behind a sodden mess. There's about 1 inch of topsoil left, in some areas less and some a bit more. The ground underneath is high in clay and stayed dry after the 10 millimeters of rainfall. So this shows us that the capillary usually provided by soil biology and roots, which are in charge of managing rainfall infiltration and runoff, are destroyed by the fire, hence the slush of topsoil sitting on top. It was very slippery due to the lack of cohesion, and I almost slipped and fell. That does not happen on healthy forest soil. 3 days later, we had about 40 millimeters of rain, and some of the topsoil washed away entirely, while the subsoil still stayed dry. You can see roots washed out and the first erosion beginning as the soil starts breaking away. There's a hint of green, which could mean recovery to the uninitiated, but far from it. Yep, the Santoreas, our grass trees, are slowly resprouting, so are the Lomandra type grasses, tussocks and similar species. They are exceptionally hardy, known for their ability to survive in harsh conditions. They are renowned as drought-tolerant, fire-resistant, and capable of thriving in nutrient-poor soils. Good, because this is now desperately needed for their survival there, because the soil there has been destroyed for years to come. What is coming through as well are weedy grasses everywhere, leaving the soil uncovered and bare, opened it right up for weedy grass and flatweed species. They will grow now much faster than native species can and ultimately outcompete native ground covers due to their genetic makeup. Bracken's recovering too. Though native, it behaves aggressively after disturbance, quickly dominating burned areas and preventing many other species from recovery. Congratulations, if monocultures, aka green deserts, were your goal, you succeeded. In my previous rant about bushfire prevention, I spoke about regenerative tools and their importance in managing fuel loads in forests. One of those tools are cool burns. This ain't it. Cool burns stay maximum knee-high, do not burn trunks nor canopies. Have a look at my photos and see how high the flames were. I also show some pictures of how it should look during and after a proper cool burn. Cool burning an area takes finesse, patience and empathy. Local knowledge is essential. There's a fine line between a nature-enhancing cool burn and a destructive hot burn. That line was crossed here. Our entire area here in South Gippsland was filled with smoke for days due to the many planned burns in the region. Forest Fire Management Victoria states on their website that these burns reduce fuel load to prevent large bushfires in summer. I explain in my book Radical Soil Care why we need healthy soil to prevent bushfires, not scorched landscapes. The opposite has been achieved here due to the destruction of the soil organic matter and its soil biology. It has lost its water storage capacity, resulting in a much drier and ultimately warmer microclimate. I explain in detail in Radical Soil Care how healthy soil can increase water holding capacity, moderate temperatures and ultimately lower bushfire risk. And I cannot stand the term planned burn because it implies that it is beneficial and benign. According to Google, even beneficial to the ecology. Yet the opposite has happened here. It was too early in the season, the vegetation still too dry for a cool burn. We had a long, dry and very warm autumn and had not received significant rainfall yet. It is about timing and flexibility, not a corporate push-through. Many people, myself included, have criticized the lack of proper fuel management over the years, contributing to the disastrous bushfires we had here in Victoria this summer. Now, in the lead up to state election, destructive burn-offs suddenly seem to be everywhere. Just 2 weeks ago, most of Gippsland was covered in smoke. So in our case here, what could have been done instead? What could have been done better? Well, see, it does not always have to be a burn. The problem here, as with most regenerative land management methods, is that they require observation and a high degree of flexibility to choose the exact right method at the exact right time. Cool burns sound great on paper, but this area would have benefited more from careful and gentle grazing at this time of year, or a cool burn later when the environment was less dry. In this particular case, I would have cell grazed a small group of goats, moved them often once the fuel load was removed and weeds controlled, but while there was still ample soil cover present. What does this require? Well, observation, high degree of flexibility and knowledge. And patience. The goats and their grazing behavior would need to be monitored daily, and they would need to be taken out as soon as the goals had been reached to avoid overgrazing. I have done this successfully on my steep property here for years, not that hard. Not only would they have maintained soil health, they would have improved it by trampling plant mass into the ground where it can decompose and establish even more new soil. 2 birds, 1 stone. And if there's still too much dry wood around, allow locals to remove it for firewood. 3 birds, 1 stone. Regenerative methods always come with one caveat, that soil is the guiding force. Soil is the boss, never the calendar, nor the clock, and certainly not a current political narrative. In short, stop the political grandstanding and making ecology yet again the token of perceived political engagement to cover up failures from the past. Years of neglect cannot be corrected through rushed demonstrative activity. Proper land management requires thorough ecological understanding, timing, observation, flexibility, local knowledge, empathy, and patience. Certainly not political grandstanding. These burn-offs are part of a broader top-down approach to land management that way too often lacks all those qualities. So stop. Stop destroying the ecology to save the ecology.